Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel GazMASH. Got another interview for you. Today I'm sat here with Hdden Figures, well, the singer Nick, and then the guy behind the video, which is Dan.
From me again now. I'm sick of waiting to outgrow all of this guilt. I want the world moving on, and it never saw me fall apart. And I'm stuck here in memory for whatever keeps.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Ahoy.
Yeah.
Guy fancies himself as a pirate. We'll go with it. We'll go with it. So, I mean, before we get on to the video that you saw me react to the other day, which was Damaged Art, which fucking incredible song, lads. I mean, incredible. So, I mean, in the band, you got yourself, Nick, on vocals. You got Casey on guitar and vocals, Eric on bass, Devin on drums, and Zach on lead guitar. Am I right?
That's right.
Cool. So, I mean, I'm going to start off with, how did you guys meet? Because I know that the other four were originally in another band, which we'll come to in a second. But how did you meet up? How did you get to know them?
So again, yeah. So they were in a band called Kerrigan. And they were pretty. They were like the staple for local music in Worcester. Like they were always on the shows and doing everything. So I've seen them play. I was a big fan of theirs, and I tell them all the time that they should have been. I should have never had an opportunity to join a band with them because they should have been doing stuff a long time ago. But pretty much what ended up happening was over the years, as you know, that their bands kind of like fizzled out, and I was learning how to do vocals, right? I was doing like covers and stuff, and I had posted a video, and then Eric had actually hit me up and was like, "Do you want to try out?" Like after watching my first cover that I had done, which I don't even know why they bothered to.
What was it? What was the cover? What was the cover?
It was one of the Asking
Spears.
No. It was one of the Asking Alexandria songs off their first album. Nice. I forget which one it was, but yeah, I posted that. He messaged me. He was like, "Oh, try out," and they sent me the instrumental for what eventually would become our song, "Don't Let the Door Hit You on the Way Out." And I hadn't even spoken to Casey at this point, and they were like, "We don't have any lyrics or anything. Just do whatever for it." I wrote some, just like garbage or whatever, just to put stuff on it. I sent it to him, and then Casey messaged me, and he was like, "Dude, you literally did exactly what I was thinking for like vocal patterns and everything." And then from there, we just have been writing together. So that was like 6 years ago now, 5-6 years ago.
Nice. I mean, the band, I mean, I've got down that it formed in like 2020. The year
Right,
time
yeah.
forgot. Yeah, the year we don't think about. But it's actually, I just an interview the other day with the difference between, and we had a lot of things in common. And again, me and you, same thing. 2020, did a thing on YouTube before I did all this sort of reactions, boatload of covers. This dying hour that I'm in, unfortunately, their singer passed away, which is terribly sad. And the guitarist, once they got around, they got in touch with me off the back of a cover. So, yeah, COVID.
Yeah.
pain in the ass. You form a band in 2020. Hey?
But also kind of a mixed blessing.
Well, COVID kind of forced artists to start from the root up, really focus, like what you just said, actually learn to do this shit all the time.
Right.
How was writing in COVID?
So COVID for us was the best thing that could have happened, for our music anyway, is because we had a very specific vision for how I wanted this band to go. Like when we decided to do it, I was like, well, if we're doing it right. We're doing it exactly the way that it needs to be done. Everything's gonna be professional quality. Like we're coming out like right out of the gate as if we're already signed and doing it ourselves, right? So COVID gave us the leg room to work with, and it gave me the opportunity to meet Dan, because he would have been all over the world doing his thing with Ice Nine Kills and everything. So that really opened up a lot of doors for us. But it just gave us the breathing room to be able to write without really having to worry about getting out there and kind of doing it the traditional way with having our songs that we wrote that nobody really heard and just playing local bars and stuff like that. It gave us the ability to do things the way that I wanted to do them.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in what I'm saying and what I said earlier. It forced everybody to step back.
Yeah.
You literally can't do anything else.
Yeah.
There's too much time. Let's actually make an effort. Come out swinging. So and I get the history of the band, Kerrigan, and then obviously moving over to Hdden Figures, and I'm loving the stuff you guys are kicking out, man. Loving it. So Dan,
Sir,
what made you want to learn? What made you want to work with this band? What was like? Do you know what? I want to work with these guys.
well, like you were saying, absolutely 100% COVID. I had, but even before then, when he's saying that, you know, that the previous incarnation Kerrigan was pretty big in the area, he's not blowing smoke. Just before COVID, I didn't have Wi-Fi in my living space. So every day I would go to the Barnes and Noble and sit in the cafe to like answer emails. Like no joke. Every day I would just go, like I'd go to the Barnes and Noble, answer emails, like, and then I'd like split time and go next door to the Staples until it's like, so the Barnes and Noble people didn't get sick of me. I'd hang out at Staples for like 2-3 hours, print a bunch of stuff, go back to Barnes and Nobles, and then like write things and then like send emails. And that was like my work flow. And a friend of Nick's was working at the Barnes and Nobles and was like, oh, hey, like, is that what is that? Those are music video. Like, is that Ice Nine Kills? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, do you know them? And I was like, I make all their videos. And she was like, oh, well, my boyfriend's got
Was it like a moment? Is that? Yes, I do.
Not really. It's kind of, you know, it's what sometimes it feels a little weird. Like it feels like you're name dropping, but I'm not. You've just asked me a question. I'm now answering your question. I'm trying to like answer your question, but
yeah.
It's kind of insane. But then she was like, oh, you know, my boyfriend's got a band, and I was like, well, it's like you don't see, and you're like, yeah, of course your boyfriend's got a band.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna be able to come up with like 10K for like a label quality video, and she's like, oh, and it used to be called Kerrigan. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Please continue, because I knew them just from reputation. Just like they toured a lot,
nice.
Like or not toured a lot, but they played a lot. They opened for Our Last Night a couple times, which are peers and contemporaries. So like you go see Our Last Night, and then this band is. It's like okay, let's talk.
Yeah.
Realistically, like my plan had been to move to LA. And then COVID hit, and that completely scuttled my plan. And it ended up being the best thing that could have happened. Like you're saying, it made me stop and take a step back and reevaluate. And like realistically, if I had planned to move when I did, that would have been a major mistake. And it also left me here in Massachusetts still when Nick eventually called up and said, hey, my friend was talking to you at the Barnes and Nobles the other day. How serious are you about working with us? And I was like, you know what? Fucking let's do it.
Nice.
Like you're not on a label, you don't have label money. What's the best you can do? The best we can do is this. It's like, you know what? I can do something pretty spectacular for that, or at least good. Maybe not spectacular. Let's not pat ourselves on the back too fucking hard.
Yeah.
But pretty good. And then, you know, that was nothing you could say. I think it's pretty good. At least okay.
Yeah, if I didn't cut my for that video, it would have been better.
I didn't tell you to.
So, I mean, nothing you could say. I mean, if we're going to talk about choruses, I mean, that one just sticks in your head for months. I mean, it's total earworm. And to be fair, that's one of the things I'm going to call out. One of the things I'm loving about this band, I love metalcore. I love metal. But one of the things that a lot of bands forget about is that you like a bit of not screaming for screaming's sake. It's got to be done right, and the fries are right, and the cleans are beautiful, and those choruses are flipping, punching. Like don't let the door hit you on the way out. There's a tongue twister. I mean, it's brutal on the opening, but then you just melt me again. It's just brilliant stuff. Starting with "Don't Let the Door Hit You on the Way Out." What's it about?
So when we go into writing songs, like I have something that I want to talk about, which the rest of the guys don't necessarily have those same experiences. And so I don't want it to be very specific about me. So like we'll have like a theme. I'll write about my experiences, and then Casey has been really good at helping me to make it more like vague, right? So the song in its of itself is just about like abandonment and betrayal, and he did a phenomenal job of writing that chorus to really help open it up. And I mean, it's so catchy. I love that song, and that was the first song Casey and I actually wrote together. But for me, that song is actually about the relationship that I have with my mother. So all of the verses and like the outro and stuff, those are I'm speaking directly to and about my mother. But then with the choruses, that's what Casey had done a really good job of opening it up and making it more just having a wider net of just abandonment and betrayal in and of itself, rather than being specifically about me and my stuff. So I mean, that song goes in a little bit hard, but knowing that it is about my mom, it's like I feel a little bit bad for how hard I went with the lyrics, but at the same time, I'm like, that's how I was feeling, and it was it was cathartic to get it out, because I've been holding on to all of this anger and hurt for so long that like now it is what it is, and I'm not over it, but I'm healthier about it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of music. It's not meant to be, and I said this in the last interview, I said it's not meant to be nursery rhymes for adults. You know, you're actually putting your heart on the line with a lot of these lyrics, and I'm with you. I mean, the lyrics that I put together, they've got a punch, and if it ain't real, it ain't going to do anything. You know, it's pointless, and I can tell the emotion in the song. And the chorus, yes, it does widen that it does make it more accessible. But I'm definitely going to listen to that song with a different mindset now. Next time I listen to it, and then straight on yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's like like color field painters, or like any kind of like modern or abstract art, where like they go to the meta that have these shows, and the critics would ask them like, oh, what does this mean? They say, what does it mean to you? And I know what it means to me, like Arshile Gorky or Jackson Pollock, where people would look at like this big splatter paint. What does it mean? It's like, I know what I meant when I painted it, but whatever it says to you is no less correct. It means how it makes you feel. So if I've made you feel something, I've succeeded. What I was thinking doesn't matter. It matters less.
Right.
So I think that's what you're talking about with the vague. But you said vague, but I don't think vague is the right word. It's more universal. You're trying to tap into a larger universal sensation of feeling.
We're going to be able to cast a wider net to talk to more people if I'm not writing specifically about my stuff that people can't relate to,
which is going to come up next song.
And exactly, and that's why Casey has working with these guys has made me a much better musician, especially once we started working with Ricky too. Like, it's all of us have grown substantially.
Whew. Hell yeah. But it's not just being before, and I want to save the whole the latest one that I've reacted to till the end, but nothing you could say is definitely up there with one of my favorites from you guys, and I've only heard like 4, and I'm trying to pick a favorite. I mean, hurry up and bring more out, because it's starting to get a bit, you brought, and I'd actually reacted to one of your songs before I realized it was you. So obviously I heard to react to the Damaged Art one, but I'd already reacted to one in a live stream, and I was like, I've heard this other one before, so bring more out. Hurry up. Borderline. So Fit for a King's Ryan Kirby Johns, sorry, was in there. I mean, that was insane track as well. And again, that one is a little bit personal as well, I think, if I'm right. Tell me about that one, man. Tell me about it. Yeah,
so I have a slew of mental health stuff that I deal with, borderline personality disorder and PTSD being like the forefront of those. And that's where the name comes from, borderline, right? So the song, for me, like, I knew I wanted to write about that stuff. And when I was talking to Eric about different stuff, and I was like, I just give me one song to do my thing with. And that's what Borderline eventually became. And so the beginning of the song, it, like, when it punches, it's like that's how my mind is. Like, if you have borderline personality disorder, it's your mindset is black or white. Things are either really good or really bad, and it will flip just like a switch, right? So that's why when it punches in, that's like the anger taking over. And I'm just kind of explaining, how my mindset works with different things, with like anxiety and, depression and things like that. And then as you go further into the song where Ryan comes in, he's kind of playing the part of older relationships from my past, from like friendships that I've had, that I grew up with a couple of people that were like my brothers, and we don't talk anymore. And for me, the way that I've rationalized that is that they just couldn't handle or understand how to be around me with my stuff when I wasn't being treated, or like I didn't even have diagnoses or anything like that yet for those things. So Ryan and I do a back and forth in his thing, and he's kind of saying what I'm thinking they were thinking, and then I'm responding to that, trying to, defend myself in a way that like makes sense to me. And then again, Casey came in and helped with that chorus to just really drive the,
And that was the first
nail
track
home.
that Ricky produced,
Yes.
nuts to bolts.
Yeah. Ricky did a phenomenal job too. He had we had an original version of Borderline that Ricky kind of took and helped us turn it into what it was. And oh my God, if you could hear what the original Borderline sounded like, it was embarrassing.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it was fine. It was fine the way
Yeah.
that, like, you go to Papa Gino's and you're like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad. It's just fine. But then Ricky, took that when the proverbial musical kitchen was like, you know what? We're gonna turn this into Il Capriccio. We're gonna turn this into a 2 Michelin star. We're gonna we're gonna slice up some garlic and then add fennel. Feeling that fennel. Gonna bring in this
Mate,
cumin.
I'm loving the way you're explaining things, mate. I'm loving the way that you're coming out with this. I mean, you tell you're the video artist, you go for it, man. Go for it. I mean, we'll move on. We'll move on to Ricky. Obviously, insane musician. What's it been like? You've just touched on one track, him kind of developing it further, but what's it been like working with someone like Ricky to bring those tracks out?
It has been very surreal. Working with Ricky. I mean, I've been a fan of his.
I was going to say, did you have a fanboy moment? Did you have a fanboy moment and then have to get over it?
It took me a little while to like be okay. I mean, like he would be texting me and I'm like, dude, like I'm texting with Ricky Armelino right now. This is insane. Like, what is happening? I mean, I've been trying to be a musician since I was 16. I just turned 30, right? So like, in so many years of just nothing happening, and now all of a sudden, Dan has been essential part of the team, has really opened up a lot of doors for us.
The way that happened is I went to Ricky's for like a cookout.
Right.
Just like I was just like down there, we're doing like a little family dinner thing. And I, took Ricky aside. I'm like, Ricky, I'm editing. I just wanted music. I just wanted edit notes. Like, set up my laptop. I'm like, Ricky, I'm struggling with this edit. Like, you want to give me some notes? Because we're friends and I value his opinion as a fellow artist. We watched the video and he was like, the video was good. Like what are your notes? He's like, who's mastering this track? And I was like, I don't know.
I like that. He goes straight to the music. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, he's like, whoever's mixing this is not doing them any favors. I was like, well, I don't think they've hired a final mixer. Would you like to do it? He's like, if they'd want me to do it? And I was like, Ricky, I think if I tell them you were like open to it, they'd be like clamoring to get in the car to get down. Well, I mean, if they'd want to have me, I'd love to fix this for you. I was like, yes, please. So I like texted Nick. I was like, Nick, you want Ricky to not like finish the final mix and then master the track? He's like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
And
meanwhile, all this is happening at a cookout. I mean, brilliant.
No, like, yeah, absolutely. Ricky does it doesn't matter what we're reading. It was all vegan stuff. Like, he does this thing to tofu where he makes it taste like chicken, like actually like chicken. It's fucking
well done. Well done.
Oh yeah, it was real good. But it's funny that like you have the fanboy morons. Before I met Ricky, like as my subject, like this person that comes up to be in my video, I had no idea who he actually was.
Yeah.
So like I've never had that fanboy. He's just been like my buddy Ricky that just like,
that's Ricky.
is also like a super talented artist.
Yeah, but just being able to work with him as a whole, as far as our band, it's been everything and more that I could have hoped for it to be, because not only is he helping us to produce better quality music, but we're all learning and we're all dedicated to that learning experience. And I mean, I've been very insecure about my abilities I just always am. I feel like any artist is pretty insecure, but and will always come back and be like, oh, this is terrible. I mean, Dan does phenomenal work with his videos, and then every time he's just like, this is the best I could have made it with what we got. I'm like, dude, this is phenomenal. Like everyone's always just judging themselves. But when we were down there recording last, he got me to the point where I was able to do my cleans, and I mean, in Damaged Art, that all of the feedback that we've gotten from that, so many people have been telling me that I should be doing the singing now instead of Casey. I'm like, Casey's so much better than me. What are you talking about? But I mean, I'm
both.
Yeah. And that's what
totally
I'm going for. Thank you.
Should never. No, totally, man. Credit's due. I mean, I love a fry. I love doing my fries, my false, and my melodies. So anybody that can do them, I'm right there with you. So I was listening intently, and you saw my vibe on that track. Insane. But just picking up on any artist who doesn't think they're rubbish, to use a want of better words, never gets better. So,
exactly.
So Damaged Art, right? Video insane, music insane. Just literally fill me through everything about that track. I want to hear everything about it. Like, how many takes? Because we know into a music video, people think it's like it took 5 minutes. Did it nothing? It took like 5 or 7 or the full day to record everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Go.
That day was that was a lot of fun. This was the first video that we've done that was all performance, so it was different for us, where we were actually able to take our time with the performance aspect of it, right? Because we're not on a label, we're not signed, everything's coming out of pocket for us, so we can only afford to shoot for one day. So when we're doing the story and the performance, we got to be on a super tight schedule and cram everything together. But this was just, we're going in there, we're going to have a great time with it, and you can see in the quality. I mean, going from Nothing You Could Say to Don't Let the Door to Damaged Art, we have never done music videos like that in that aspect before. I mean, the first video that we shot, I was expecting Dan to roll up with like one other person, and he shows up in his huge box truck, and like 15 people come out, and there's all these crazy lights, and everyone's doing like, what is happening right now? It's like a full-on movie production. So yeah, I mean, we were there all day. We got there for probably like 10 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around, to start loading in. Again, a ton of people there. Dan had been building that set for like 2 years, I think. I
mean, in one incarnation or another. Yeah. I mean, there's 40 televisions.
Yeah.
Which takes an enormous, not one person on the internet has commented or observed or even like registered like the sheer volume of like weight. Yeah. I had to like check with the building. I had to like check the weight load against the building's plans, because I became afraid at one point that we might break the floor. It's thousands and thousands of pounds, because each TV weighs like 100 fucking pounds.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, right? Because I've seen the magic that any videographer, any guy in your shoes can do. I just thought they were just imposed, man. I mean, I'll be honest. That's why I didn't comment on them.
No, that is. I started collecting TVs. Kind of. I don't think I realized I was collecting TVs until I had like a dozen. I was like, oh, it would appear I'm collecting TVs.
Did you appear on the TV show Hoarders? You're like, hold on, I'm on the TV show Hoarders right now with all these TVs. I better use them for something.
But it was, but like there was like I'm not sure. You said 2 years is really more like 3, but I'm not sure at one point it became an actual plan. I just kind of Neil Gaiman, the author, one of his advice to artists is follow your obsessions, because they will lead you where you need to be. So like I'd just be cruising down the street, and then there's like a TV on the side of the road, and I pick it up, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna take this home, plug it in, see if it works. I plug it in, hook up a Sega to it, and it's like, oh, this works. Okay, and then it happens again, and it happens again, and then it happens again, and at some point you look around, and you're like,
keep going.
I'm paying
keep
200 bucks a month.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like
keep getting more.
Storage. I was like, I'm paying 200 bucks a month to store like 20 TVs. Why am I?
Well, I mean, I'm coming over to the US near Mass in February next year. I'm gonna come then. You better have more TVs, otherwise I'll be disappointed.
Oh no, I already do. So I've already expanded that wall to include 10 more TVs. So it's now 20 feet wide, 12 feet tall.
Legend.
And I'm not done.
Yeah, so that's one thing that we've been getting a lot of comments about is everyone's comparing us to the Memphis Mayfire videos that came out. And that's the one thing that is kind of irritating to me because we've been planning this for
Doesn't
so
need to be
long.
irritating.
I mean, I've seen that video, and I've only just made that link because you pointed it out. But a video is a video, dude. Like
I
literally.
mean, they're not the first people to do it. We're
No,
definitely not the first
I was just
people to
watching
do that.
Top of the Pops. I was
Yeah.
just watching a documentary about Wheatus, and Wheatus played Top of the Pops in 1999 or 2000. And when they were on Top of the Pops in 2000, behind them is a wall of, but there weren't vintage tube TVs. They were like currently available, what sold in stores. I was trying to like, I knew that like this used to be a thing, like giant stacks of TVs, but they're like bolted to like a framework. They're like professional like monitors.
Yeah.
This was, and they're all the same size. This was like all different sizes home consumer TVs that I had to like build like a dry fit stone wall. So I had to like fit them all together. So look, it makes one big square, but within that square, they're all like weirdly Jenga in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right, though. I mean, but at the end of the day, there's so many music videos that look so similar to every other. Literally, ignore them, dude. Ignore them. I'm going to jump right back onto the band, because obviously you've got 4 tracks out. COVID's hopefully doing one. When are you going to tour? Like, when is that going to happen? Have you even gigged together yet? You won't have, will you?
Yeah, we so they've been playing shows together for years and years and years. Our first show together as Hdden Figures was October 30th. We opened up for Lions and at the Jewel music venue in New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire.
They did great.
We did our thing.
You saw them. Oh, of course you did see. You said you'd seen them live, of course. So yeah.
Click. So I mean, we're working on just getting out there to be able to play shows right now. I mean, we want to tour, we want to do all of that stuff. We have all of these projects that we're working on at the same time. So we're kind of, I mean, with the release of this, I've been doing interviews like every other day. Like my schedule has been like packed with like so many different things, which isn't taking away from that, but we have so many things behind the scenes that we're working on that it's happening. We're gonna get there. There's too many stuff that I can't talk about just yet, but we're
go on. Well, wait till I stop recording, then you can tell me all about it.
Yeah.
No, but I can't wait, because hopefully you never know, you might have a gig around the February time and I'll come through Mass and I'll come see you. But,
absolutely.
We're going to start wrapping this up, really, but what I want to ask you is there anything you want to let your fans know? Because obviously you've got all these interviews going on, you just hinted that you've got all the other stuff going on, so hopefully there's more recordings going to be coming out, more tracks soon. But is there anything you want to say to your fans before you wrap this up, brother?
So
pressure.
We have more stuff that's done, ready to go. So just stay tuned. Like we got some stuff in the works.
Can we say what that stuff is?
Oof, I get the feeling.
We have one track that's like ready to go. That's what I want to say, because I don't necessarily know what we're going to do with it yet. So I don't. The name of that song is it's entitled "Burn." There's no cleans in that song. So
it's just pure brutal.
If you're kind of heavy, we're trying to
bring it.
Go all over the place here. So it's my favorite song to play. So stay tuned for that one. Yeah.
Absolutely. all with you right there, man. The more brutal, the better. Right. Yeah. I mean, check these guys out. Link in the description. Insane tracks. You're gonna love each and every one of them. Whatever it is you're doing, have an awesome weekend. See you later.
Thanks, guys.